Okay.
I dare you.
Well, welcome back, everybody. There's another episode of the Natives in America podcast, and with me, as always, is Sky. We're going without a guest tonight, so it's just me and Sky. And,
What's up?
Yeah. And Sky has chosen the topic tonight, so I'll let him. I don't know if he meant Nirvana the band or Nirvana the place. So why don't you tell us about it?
I think it could be both. In the sense of maybe Nirvana being this place of calmness and fullness, or I don't know, spiritual oneness.
Yeah.
But then there's also the band, the rock band, the grunge band.
Yeah. I see him as a grunge band for sure.
Yeah, I think the band that, I mean, personally, yeah, I can say Nirvana had a lot of impact on my life, but I also can say that the music they made just impacted like the world in general.
Yeah.
So, you kind of want to make light of that, but also kind of, revisit all of it because, just looking back on Kurt, just kind of being this, starving artist, sort of, not willing to conform and just sort of being this wild child and him learning how to play guitar and make music, which is, it sounds simple saying it, but in reality, like bands like the Beatles or Rolling Stones, those are like, not everyone gets to get to that level of fame. At least maybe back then, because right now, and that was another reason why I wanted to bring it up. With now in this reality we're living in, fame and instant success. It's so easy. Not easy, but it just seems like how Kurt Cobain was affecting the world. It seems like now the power he had, I guess a lot of these younger kids, they have it too. But they also kind of reflecting on his life, he even though he changed rock music, he also, had a lot of pain, and that pain ended up with his demise of him ending his life.
Yeah.
So, him having to, have to feel like that was a way out of the pain, because we don't know what he was going through, no one really knows what another person's going through, but I think there's those moments where we're like, man, why did you have to do that, or was there another way? And I think too is just why I was kind of on my mind, it was just like, man, if Kurt were still alive, how would things be? How would he see things? Or would he be embarrassed, or would he be kind of proud? It's just music is so different now compared to when it was just plugging your guitar to the app and turn it on, but now it's like, we're running computers and, we go see a DJ that's just by himself, so it's like, music is so, it's very futuristic now. Not to say it wasn't before, but it was just, we've definitely progressed with how we're making music, but I mean, I always remember this Van Morrison, who was also one of my favorite artists.
Yeah.
They were asking him in an interview, it was like, is there any new up-and-coming artists coming up? And, he pretty much said, no, it's all been done before. And so, like, Kurt seeing the world now, like, is, are we making him proud, or, is he kind of like, oh, man, what's going on here?
That's interesting.
But, I don't know if you have any... You want to chime in, or?
No, I'm just listening. Like, I can hear the music in my head, and I'm trying to, I guess, form an opinion on how this all makes me feel.
So, of course, Dave Grohl, who was the drummer in Nirvana, went on to have his own band, Foo Fighters, which is, he's still successful, and they're still like an active band putting out albums. But
yeah,
there's actually two Nirvana members in that group. Pat Smear, who was a guitarist who kind of played on the later albums with Nirvana, but he still like knew Kurt, and they were doing an interview, and someone asked him, like, do you guys listen to the old Nirvana albums? And they were both like, no, like, it's too sad.
Yeah.
But so, and it was also cool is just recently, or I don't know, I just seen the video recently. I don't know how old the video is, but Dave Grohl's daughter was singing "Come As You Are," and Dave was playing the drums.
Oh wow!
So they were doing that. I don't know if you would call that a cover, because it's it's Dave Grohl. He's one of the original. But he was telling a story about him in the car, and his daughter was like, Kurt Cobain shy? And he was like, yeah, he was very shy. He was like, he wasn't really a people person. And his daughter was just kind of like, someone so shy can still, have that big impact on a lot of people.
Yeah.
It was just sort of this, and I think maybe that was another reason why I brought up the topic, was just, even though he's gone, he's still very much here. I don't know. I was the one time there was a band that came out. They didn't really have a lot of success, but I just remember, and I think there's a few bands where I'm like, man, this is Nirvana, I don't know if you ever, I don't want to even name them, but I'm just more like, I hear Nirvana when I see, you know what I mean? It's just, the presence is still there.
Like it hasn't died. Like it's still, it didn't, the music didn't die with them. We all still have it here, and it's still good. Like you listen to it and it's still catchy. It still has value in my life, and it's crazy to. Whenever I think about subjects like this, it's kind of like I think of it in timelines, and I think of it in like what ifs.
Mm-hmm.
Like you mentioned, what if he hadn't died? Like would all of music have been different? Would the Foo Fighters never have existed? Because I mean, this is the world. This is the world we live in, and it's like post. Kurt Cobain, post Nirvana. I mean, Nirvana's still there. It still exists, but it's not that what we know as Nirvana. And I don't know. It just seems like a real common sad story of people who are great and they go too early, go too soon. So like, you know, and so it sounds to me like this big. Hold on, I'm gonna adjust my mic here. It just sounds like I don't know, like a big cosmic waste. Like or not that. Not, I wasn't thinking that. I lost track. Seems like a big mental health issue.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's kind of like a human issue. It's like everybody's struggling to not be alone, and some absolutely want it. You know, solitude. And then when we think of Nirvana as a place of enlightenment, you know, like contentment on all levels, like kind of, I don't know. I get a lot of mixed emotions. Like I didn't think I would think this way now, but like it's sad, man. It's sad and like human at the same time. Like we're all seeking something, and maybe it's all Nirvana, like some form of Nirvana. And maybe like you would know better than I do, but like, have you ever heard a story about why they named their band Nirvana?
You know, that's a good question. I might have learned a long time ago and I forgot, but no, I don't.
Well,
I'll have to look into it, but
like I had this little fantasy of it being Kurt Cobain's idea to call it that, and maybe through his music he was finding peace and Nirvana, and I don't know, maybe it wasn't enough, or maybe whatever he was experiencing at the time wasn't enough, or you know, I've had it described as being completely like the way, I think it was Family Guy that said it this way, but it was, I just know how it was in Seth MacFarlane's voice, and I think they were describing 4 like famous people that had killed themselves, and they had a Kurt Cobain character, and he was sitting there saying, hey, like I didn't like where the music industry was headed, and instead of seeing my music, my love turned into something that I don't know or understand or like, because it's run by corporate, you know, the music industry, that's why he did it, you know. Like I don't know, they're just making a joke of it, or it was really like hitting it home, but that's kind of what they had that character say. And I'm like,
yeah.
Well, there's that perspective. But like, I like to think that he found Nirvana in his music.
Yeah, no, I always like. I mean, maybe it wasn't the fact that he was the best musician, but yet, you know, with the same tools everyone else had, you know, somehow.
Yeah.
Was it his voice or the fact that he was singing and screaming, just switching that back and forth like it was, you know, part of the, you know, maybe a part of what he was, you know, kind of vibing or what he was going through. But like his life and then life of people now, like mental health, that I don't think that was a big of an issue back then as it is now. Now that a lot of musicians are getting too high, or you know what I mean, like just it's the pain of it just so much that they go down just to stay up. I mean, I'm not even just talking about Kurt. I'm talking about Michael Jackson, or even a lot of the newer rappers that they're not here because they went overboard, or I guess what they were dealing with mentally, got the best of them, which is. That's maybe that's the crazy part about it is, even people like, like Jimi Hendrix or Amy Winehouse, these musicians that.
I was thinking of Mac Miller.
I mean, they just had those. I won't even say problems, but there's just...
Janis Joplin.
Yeah, Janis Joplin. I mean, these talented people that somehow... I don't know, I think of it in regards to an artist that is, trying to paint a picture, but yet... when you're in a room full of everyone just kissing your ass, the picture you pop out might not be that great because no one's telling you the truth anymore. They're just trying to be nice to you.
They're trying to get a piece.
And I think that's a lot of what, I don't know if maybe Kurt was felt shortchanged because he was he was a hardcore Beatles fan, even. He was trying to be the Beatles, that was a lot of the studio time, ways to get him to do things is they would say, oh, this is what, Paul McCartney would do, or this is what John Lennon would do, so, he was very, influenced by the Beatles.
No kidding.
So, I mean,
that's kind of strangely comforting.
But then, looking back, the impact of the Beatles,
Yeah.
And just how, I guess, our musicians just casualty to the music that we grow up on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, that's how I see it with Kurt, it wasn't sincere to him as what he was receiving. And I don't know, I remember, this is kind of going off topic, but, when the internet was kind of starting to get popping and the band Thursday, they didn't really know much about internet and how people could listen to your music, stream your music. This was had to have been maybe early 2000s, maybe late 90s. But when they went to the show, to their own show, the people that were in the crowd, they didn't know who they were, but they knew their music because streaming was just getting started, and these people already knew the songs. So I don't know how. I mean, I think it's a good feeling, but then it's also sort of an odd feeling when suddenly everyone knows who you are and kind of has this image of you. And even now we're talking about them we all felt we kind of could just not be him, but just almost encouraging him to do it. So I don't know. that might seem fishy to somebody, where it's like, well, how do you know all my songs? And then, like, you know what I mean? It's just, it might rub somebody else differently.
Yeah, I'm reading their Wikipedia page, trying to see where the song came from, the name.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't really say. You know, I always like to add this kind of science side to it. Like, I always think about us as life forms made of energy, and everything we interact with is also made of energy, and it's like music involves a lot of waves, and it's all energy. And I feel like not everybody likes the same music, and it's like there's a resonance that goes on with music. It kind of, we say you vibe to it, you're feeling it, and like, it sounds figurative, but I like to think that it's physical too. Like, in reality, it's two energies interacting together. And when a group of people come together, like a band like Nirvana, it's a group of energetic people that just kind of hit those right notes and the right keys and the right energy level, that instead of them just staying up in Washington, they wound up, crossing the globe. And it was this resonance that affected everybody. And still does, it's still absolutely relevant music.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh, heavy stuff.
Yeah, and I sometimes think about, had he not died, had a bunch of people not died, like, would we be any different or any better off? There was I think I told you before, there was that movie, I can't remember what it was called. What was it?
The Beatle movie, or
the Beatle movie, yeah.
Yesterday, or is
it? Yesterday.
Yeah.
And like how weird it was. Like, they played it off really well, but it was like how weird it is that how much of an influence a band could have, and how much the world would change. I mean, maybe it was purely theoretical, but it was like, Jesus, this is it's interesting to think about. I think about stuff like that all the time, just what effect we have on each other's.
Yeah. Or the ripple effect of time, where it turns into something else, like, or it influences it to go that way instead of the other way.
Exactly.
And also, I guess, what does
So we're calling this episode Nirvana, so I'm kind of thinking, like, let's define Nirvana. Because I think you really meant to talk about the band, but like...
Yeah, no, but I was thinking of just everything.
Yeah. So I got something for Buddhism.
Yeah.
It says a transcendent state in which there is neither suffering, desire, nor sense of self, and the subject is released from the effects of karma and the cycle of death or rebirth. It represents the final goal of Buddhism. Wow. And then it has similar words. It says paradise and heaven and the promised land and bliss. and blessedness. Alright, so I kind of want to bring up this book. I had shared it with one of my old coworkers, and he got back to me and said it was a good read. And I mean, I listened to it on Audible.
What is it?
But I kind of want to bring it up. I think it's called The Man on the Mountain. I'm gonna make sure on that. The Man on the Mountaintop. Yeah, The Man on the Mountaintop. And it's by Libby Spurrier. Spurrier or Spurrier, depending on how you read it, I guess. But the whole thing is kind of like a it's kind of like a study and meditation on different personalities, or maybe your personality traits that maybe cause you problems in your life. And they do it by describing a holy man. And he's like this really simple guy, but he's become a holy man through his vision and his experience, and then people started seeking him out, and then it became like this. They called it a hermitage, so he basically stays on this mountaintop, and then people, it's not migrate. What is it when you cross long distances to, like when you go to Mecca?
A pilgrimage?
Pilgrimage. Okay, is that it? Yeah. Well, anyway, all these people are all these people are seeking out this holy man on top of the mountain. And through each of their experiences, like, they all line up, and nobody gets to cut ahead. Nobody, loses a spot if they have to use the restroom. But like, they are all journeying to see this holy man. And each one of them has different personalities, and as they come into contact with the holy man, they get, I want to say the word is they get changed forever. And it's all their personalities that lead to how they interact with the holy man. And some are good, some are bad, like some are awful, and I think it's worth people looking up, The Man on the Mountaintop. And when I listened to it on Audible, it was read by Stanley Tucci. The guy from The Devil Wears Prada and Julie and Julia. And anyway, really good book. And I think it's about reaching Nirvana as well. Because what the guy does is he tries to affect people in such a way that their experience with him opens their eyes. And he called it getting people to start walking the holy path. The path of holiness, I guess is what it was. And really what it was is he was opening their eyes to their shortcomings or maybe their faults, and working on changing themselves to be better and to start treating people better. And through all these actions and changes in their lives, they begin to walk the holy path, and they start living better lives, and they start thriving as people, as human beings. And it's a really good book, The Man on the Mountaintop. When you see the cover, it's like really light blue on the top, and then it goes dark black on the bottom. It's really a good book. And I think it's derived from some other book that it's based on, but then Audible did like a cover of it. But the one I listened to on Audible is really great. Kind of every time it's kind of a short one. I think it's like let's see here. Doesn't.
Couple hours?
No, it's not. It might. I don't know. It might be. I think it's like an hour and a half to 3 hours, something like that. And every time I'm done listening to it, I feel better. I feel a little bit enlightened, and like it's kind of where you have like a near-death experience, or like a very traumatic experience, and it kind of changes your perspective.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes that same effect where you're suddenly different from that point on, sometimes it's positive. It's not just all negative.
Yeah.
And like sometimes you get this really enlightened feeling like, oh, I'm going to change everything about myself. And then, you know, time goes on, you know, you go back to your routine, and then that feeling kind of becomes fleeting. It kind of goes away, and you don't have it anymore. Like this high, stinging, like high level thinking that feels really good, enlightenment, and then it just kind of slowly fades away as you don't think about it as much. And like, that's kind of what this book is. Like, I've gone back a second time to listen to it again, and almost immediately I started feeling better because it made me think about how to deal with whatever kind of personality problems I have or shortcomings, you know, traumatic experiences in my life. And so yeah, I think it kind of goes along the lines of Nirvana, is seeking out this happiness. And I don't even want to put happiness in the equation now that I think about it. Like, it's more about being content. So not angry, not sad, not happy, like no overwhelming emotional feeling, but feeling content. Like, a lot of people are drawn to trying to improve themselves, and there's usually like some goal in that. And I don't know. I think Nirvana is about rising above all that.
Well, at least not getting caught up in the back to the cheese, the rat race, you know?
Yeah.
Do you think you could be a monk?
So the in the book there's monks. Like the main guy's a monk, and he has a whole band of monks, and they're all talented in their own way. Like, they all have these incredible talents that brought them to monkhood. But in monkhood, they're all kind of equal. And I liked the idea of that, and I think I've even asked myself that question: could I be a monk? And I don't think so. I don't think so. What about you?
My first thought is I don't think so, but then just kind of, you know, I think that type of work is needed, but it's almost this not self-centered. You're not. I'm too self-centered to even think about that, because it seems like you have to be not, and you have to be almost willing to give everything. And I mean, maybe that's something I got to work on, is, you know, my selfishness, or my, I don't know, because it's like hearing you talk about Nirvana, and I started thinking about like meditation and
yeah,
and still trying to ground yourself in that calming reality, but yet the contrast of it is this life we live where we're I don't know what to call that, the matrix or the society, but this just meshing the two is almost impossible. Or at least that's how I feel in this moment right now, because I could pray and meditate all day, but will that satisfy my role in the matrix? Oh, you know what I mean? So I see being a monk is just going full into the ocean and just never coming out. I don't.
See, that,
you know what I mean? I don't know.
That's part of why I said I couldn't. Because you were saying, does that satisfy the Matrix or whatever? And I was, I'm wondering why you're thinking Matrix, but I was just thinking like, all I could think about was I have needs, and like I think they would need to be met first before I could look out. Like could I still meet my needs and live, walk the holy path, or is just that pure necessity that I feel towards myself first, like, is that selfish, like too selfish for the monkhood, or like is it like, all right, I need to be fed, I need company, like I need water, I need love, I need, light, I need the darkness of the night, like I have these balances, and then if we just get strictly chemical, it's like I need salts and sugars and fats and meats and iron and whatever, like, but like you can have all that and be a monk.
You can?
I don't know, can you? Like
I don't think you can.
Like,
and all this stuff you're describing,
is it too selfish?
No, it's,
I see it as like basic need.
Yeah, no, and even I think monkhood is even going relinquishing yourself of those needs too.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's when I say I'm selfish, I'm thinking like those things that you're talking about, like I still want to be able to play with those things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe Nirvana or...
I don't think monkhood is supposed to kill you. I think you're supposed to live, with what you need, what you have.
Yeah. And
then you spend the rest of your time either looking outward or looking inward and trying to improve, I think. I mean, is improvement even part of monkhood?
To me, I always thought monkhood was like about prayer. Like they were just praying all day. Like
my mind immediately goes, pray for how long?
Exactly. That's what I mean.
Is there ever an end to that? Like, is that the whole point?
The world we live in needs so much prayer, but we can't pray all day because we have our jobs and like what you said, like all these needs that we gotta still keep up with. Like,
yeah.
We don't have time to pray all day, but we might need to. So that's why I always like the monks or these individuals that, choose that route, like more spiritual or more, connected to nature or the earth, it's like, that's important too. It's just, it feels like I can't contribute in that way. Like, I don't know, I mean, I don't know, maybe in a couple more years, I don't know, like, it's, I don't even know, like, is there a part-time monk? Like, are they taking interns? Like, it's like,
I work for free.
Something you're doing, you're going full balls deep.
Yeah. Balls deep monkhood, huh? All right, so here's the positives that I see in this. So maybe there's a calming of the soul, like a satisfaction of the soul.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know how we're always using the expression, there's a hole that I'm trying to fill. Some people do it with shopping, some people do it with drugs, some people do it with their families, some people do it with their job. Like, there's this need to fill this hole, and I see monkhood as some way of seeking that out, whether it be more drawn out or more immediate, but that when you reach nirvana, you lose that need. You know what I mean? That's kind of my understanding. You rise above that.
Yeah.
Because, like, I was also thinking, like, man, like, are all monks celibate? Like, are all monks religious? Because I sometimes wonder, are all monks like are all monks chaste? You know, like can you be who you are and still be a monk? Or is becoming a monk changing who you are? Like I think when both of us thought about can you be a monk, I think we both thought of ourselves, of who we are right now, and then we think about what a monk is, and we go, no, I can't be that, because I'm thinking about who I am right now.
Yeah.
But, like, solitude and like irreverence and like meditation sounds all very peaceful to me.
Yeah.
And like usually like these temples, wherever they're at, they're in these like beautiful, in my mind they are, in these beautiful places that are in the middle of nature, which I'm a big fan of nature. Like I love the outdoors.
Yeah.
And when I don't have that, I seek it and I want it. Like I want reconnection. And when I think about the positive sides of monkhood, it's like, all right, there's that reconnection. In my mind, that's what it would be, what I would be seeking in monkhood. But at the same time, I would need, you know, my lady and my child, you know, like I would need my family.
Yeah.
And does monkhood necessarily negate that? Does it necessarily say no, there's no children, no children, no wife, no partnership, just solitude? Because I couldn't do that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know any monks personally, so I can't say.
Yeah, let's call one up.
The kids in the background. I mean, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it seems like a lot of stuff you're sacrificing to live in that route.
Yeah.
And again, we know nothing about this. We brought it up like to have a serious discussion, and we have no real knowledge on it. But like, I'm a lot of scenes from the second Ace Ventura are playing in my head.
Yeah, I've played a few of those.
But I just to me it's like a nun. Like, you know, you're kind of like you're devoting yourself to God. But with monks, I don't know if it's God. I don't know what it is. It's just to something not yourself. And yourself is like that, like you say, your lady, your kid, your all these things that you I don't know, it's just like we wake up and we're like, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. Like, do we really need that?
I'm looking in this room full of things. Like I'm moving soon.
Yeah.
And I'm looking around the room going, how much of this do I need? And really, it's like they all these things have value that I've given them.
Yeah.
How much time do I spend with these things? And, you know, I'm looking at everything that I'm trying to bring with me, like everything I'm trying to take down there with me. And some of it's just crap. Do I need that? No, probably not. Does it serve a purpose right now? Like, yeah, kind of. Or maybe I just like looking on it fondly going, yeah, I got that. You know, like, I got a ping pong table right here in my kitchen. And it's like, all right, I had a couple fantastic nights where I just kind of hung out with just random strangers and we played ping pong. And the entire time we were just laughing and having like a fantastic time. And when I bought that thing, that's what it was for. That's what I was seeking. I wanted companionship and like to have people laughing around this table and like hanging out and enjoying ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I've done that, but like right now it looks all sad and quiet in the corner. And I'm planning on taking it with me. And I'm hoping to have more of that, you know.
Mm.
But does owning that buy me friendship and satisfaction? Like I don't know. Sure doesn't look like it sitting there in the corner.
I don't think you're gonna be needing table tennis at Monkhood.
Yeah. maybe I don't know. Maybe that's how they pass the time like that.
Or playing some ping pong in the chapel. I don't know. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, but I don't think Nirvana and Monkhood are. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're connected, but I think we talk about like, you know, arriving to this place in our mental where we're going past the material shit and just this soul-y thing where I'm not happy, I'm not sad, I'm just kind of here.
Well,
but I mean, that's what I mean. Like, it almost seems too hard to get to where in the matrix or in the reality where we can have these things and put value on them and for the time being that's enough. So
well I like that you kind of took the two ideas and separated them, because we're going pretty heavy into monkhood, and that's bringing up all the questions, right? Like, oh, could I actually do that? It's really making you think. But if we go back to the idea of Nirvana, can you find Nirvana without being a monk? I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think ultimately that's what everybody's seeking, whether you call it Nirvana or something else.
Oh, yeah.
Just call it happiness. Or
have you ever heard
satisfaction.
someone use the phrase, ignorance is bliss?
Yeah, yeah.
Are you a fan of that? Or does that hold up your logic?
With all right, so okay, check it out. I like that you brought that up. With my logic, I'll give you a quick answer here, as quick as I can say. It sounds to me, my quickest reaction is ignorance is bliss. I don't always equate ignorance with stupidity, because you and me and Meg and a bunch of other kids from the tribe have gone and done the program with Dr. Whitty, and we were taught ignorance is an opportunity to ask questions. You know, like something you don't know but you could know. So ignorance is bliss. That kind of goes against all that. My first reaction is, oh, that's a stupid way to live. But then at the same time, when it comes to my health, I'd rather try and heal at home than go to the doctor and find out what could possibly be wrong with myself. And that's kind of like an ignorance is bliss type scenario there for sure, like almost the definition of it. I'd rather not know, because in my mind, and I'm basing this off of what I learned in like a psychology 101 class, is that how you feel about yourself, how you feel emotionally, and how your thoughts are developing, like whether they're negative thoughts or positive thoughts, they physically affect you. They cause effects in your body that become physical.
Oh, yeah.
So like negative thoughts, it described it as acids in your body kind of start getting released in your gut, in your stomach, in your esophagus, like your intestines. Mm-hmm. They start releasing gas, and it was like gases and acids, and like I know everybody's heard of this, the free radicals. You know what I mean? Like when people are eating blueberries, it's like an anti-radical. What do they call it?
Antioxidant?
Oxidant, yeah. So oxidant is a free radical. It's kind of what it is it's like peroxide. Peroxide means there's free oxygen atoms that I think it's their electrons. It's either the electrons or the atoms, but they're breaking off because it's not balanced. Every atom, every compound needs to be balanced. So it seeking that, sometimes something like peroxide will spit off these atoms. I want to say it's either hydrogen or oxygen. It's like unbalanced oxygen. All gases want to be doubled up in pairs as they're balanced as two pair. But I think peroxide is like three oxygens together, so it's shooting off this unbalanced atom, and that's kind of what reacts like. And when you have free radicals or oxidants, which is what they're talking about, these extra oxygen, I want to say either atoms, they're shooting off and trying to take electrons to balance out. And that's what they get from each other is when they double up. So the free one is popping off the compound and trying to latch onto other stuff. And that's how you get the bubbliness. And that's what oxidants are. And that's what free radicals are. And they're shooting off this reactive, I guess, atoms, this soup of atoms, and it destroys the cells they come in contact with because it starts pairing up with pieces and tearing off stuff to try and become balanced. And so I guess my answer wasn't that short. I was saying when you're seeking nirvana or happiness or whatever you want to call it, you're kind of seeking balance. And that can be destructive as well, but what I'm saying is thinking negatively, like saying, oh, I have a heart problem, and you know it, and you're aware of it, and there's no ignorance about it, you're completely aware of it, can have negative effects. Mm. So like when somebody finds out they have a horrible symptom going on, something's bad, then suddenly they start crashing. I think part of it, not all of it, like part of it is, hey, you got the disease, but part of it is knowing you have it, and it changes your perspective and how you think about things, and then, boom, free radicals, oxidants, and acids that break you down on a cellular level. And so, I guess back to your original question, yes, I think ignorance can be bliss, for sure. That's not my life philosophy.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I like to try and be aware of that, which is why I'm constantly trying to seek satisfaction or like a balance. Trying to maintain what feels right to me. Mm.
Yeah, I like it sometimes where you don't have to think, you just, ignorance is bliss, you know, but then to me, it's like research you're not doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you could say, you could not say it and kind of maybe poke around and do some actual research and maybe get some more knowledge. But yeah, I guess when it's convenient, it's a good price, but sometimes it doesn't always hold up. Again, kind of relating it to Nirvana or I'm thinking of like food. Like, man, some people like they really like a certain type of food, and it's just like the best thing ever. And that's not Nirvana.
Yeah. So I think about people who eat kale. Like, oh, kale's so good for you. Kale. I love eating it. And then when I eat kale, it's like, oh, it's fucking gross. Like, it's got this texture to it. There's something to it I don't like. Maybe it's just the way the people that eat kale act around me. That makes me disgusted when I eat kale. But what I think what it is, like my thinking is, all right, there's this negative reaction that I have with kale, and it's based on my thoughts, the power of thought. And then I think there's a life-producing satisfaction, even maybe a chemical that your brain releases, like serotonin, when you eat something that you wanted or you're craving. So like, say, damn, I was craving a steak, and I got it. I had a steak and a beer, and people go, oh, steak's unhealthy for you, beer is unhealthy for you, but I think, my way of thinking is if I really wanted that beer and I really wanted that steak and I had them, there's a life-giving, powerful, energy-giving reaction to that I don't get from kale. You know what I mean? So, like, it may be the best food on earth, but if I don't crave it, if I don't want it, then it means nothing to me and it doesn't have any nutritional value. And I really think what I'm getting into is nutrition can be a state of mind. Like the placebo effect.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know, you know. I know really old smokers, you know. Like,
I like that, though. I mean, but then that's like anything could be anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, well, that's kind of the beauty of it. That's where I try and keep my mind like on the ball. Like, am I happy right now? Like, that's kind of why that's ultimately why I'm moving now. Like, it's like I'm not happy. There are good things in my life, like this podcast and having friends like you and all that. Like, it's nice and satisfying. But the stuff that I'm doing, I think I can improve my life by moving down there. Maybe. I think the real point is seeking it.
Yeah. Taking
the chance and trying to seek it out again. Rolling the dice. Moving the cheese.
Yeah, I was going to say that. So then ignorance is bliss in that.
Yeah. Ignorance can be powerful. To your psyche and to your body, like, overall. I think. This is all my opinion. Like, this is based off of my, I guess you could say, mental research.
Yeah.
It's a collaborative of all these things I've read and heard and listened to, and I'm sure a lot of it's bullshit, but I find solace in it.
Are you allergic to any foods?
Yeah.
What? If you don't mind sharing.
I don't know, man. If I put it out there, somebody's gonna poison me. I think I've got something to, like, broken down fruit sugars. And by that, I mean, like, if you cut a watermelon and I tear it up right out of the watermelon, I'm good. If I cut up a watermelon, let it sit out for the day, and then I put it in the fridge, and then I come back the next day and eat it, my throat will become itchy, and my lips might start to swell a little. And that's been with like melons and
tomatoes,
cantaloupe. Yeah, I've had a little bit of a reaction to tomatoes.
What about bananas?
Yeah, that's why I prefer green banana to a black one. Like a black banana kind of fucks with my throat and my breathing, which is weird.
You muscle through that, right? Like.
Yeah, no, I'll tear the fuck out of some older watermelon. Just like, my lips are a little itchy right now. I'm good.
Okay. No, that's... I don't know how that proves your point of, like...
Yeah.
That helps it or doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know where you're going with that. I do know, though, I've just revealed my kryptonite, so any of my enemies that are out there, they know now. It's out there.
Like, hey, baby, I'll buy you some fruit.
Some fruit cocktail. It's a year old. Here you go. Yeah.
Huh. That's...
What about you?
I wonder if that... Well... Avocados. Yeah, there was this one time we're at my Aunt Dee's house, and they were tearing up avocado, and I don't know if I just maybe already knew that I didn't, because I was the same way. I always reacted to like tomatoes and bananas and watermelon, like. I would always get my tongue get bumpy or be all itchy.
Yeah. Down on the back of my throat.
Yeah, so this one time my mom was like, she kept pushing avocados on me. She was like, here, have it, just try it. And then she pretty much like, hey, you need to eat this, you know. So, of course, I listened to my mom.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, my lips start to just swell up. And my tongue's all bumpy, and I have a pretty bad reaction. And we called I think we just called the emergency and asked them what to do and stuff. So yeah, ever since then I've stayed away from guacamole and anything connected to avocados.
Okay.
But I think if I were to eat one now, I would probably not have a reaction, but I just don't. But I don't know if I'm allergic or if I'm just picky. Because I think it's just me being picky. Because like with cheese, I could say I'm allergic to cheese, but I don't know. Maybe I'm not. I just don't like it.
I don't know. Having a reaction is serious enough, especially like when it has to do with your airway. Like I actually after going down there this past weekend, I had a bite on my arm, and I was thinking about your mom when she got a bite, and it was just kind of itchy. I just kind of kept I would scratch it every now and then, but leave it because it's kind of like the back of my arm, so I don't see it a lot. And then the other night, I think it might have been just last night, I went and scratched the bottom of my arm, and I looked, and I could feel it before I looked. It was like a kind of rough patch. I lifted my arm up, and there was this big red circle on the back of my arm. It looked like a rash, but it was just like a red circle, and it was kind of rough and bumpy. And I was like, "Holy fuck! Like, this is more serious than what I thought." Because when you're way out there in the desert, you tend to get like spider bites pretty regular. Yeah. And I mean, I guess you can get them anywhere, but I mean, like you're out in the wilderness, and it just seems a little more present. But anyway, like I took a couple of Benadryl pills, and after a while, it just went away. So I don't know if you can call that a serious reaction or not. Like, if I hadn't taken the pill, would it have continued to progress? That was like 2 days later, maybe a day later, after I got the bite.
I think that's all on the how your body reacts and how it heals itself. Like, I guess how it naturally heals versus, giving it antibiotics or some type of medicine to speed up the process. No, but it's like, I know we have weird bugs here, but I don't know, I think we're good on our bugs, because sometimes when I watch stuff in other countries, they have
Jesus, yeah,
big ass crazy shit, and I know just stuff I wouldn't want to deal with, but
yeah,
so
yeah, well, I'm good with my bugs.
yeah.
I'll take a red circle every now and then.
I'll take my bugs over whatever you got over there.
Whatever kind of screaming death you got over there.
Especially in the rainforest or something.
Yeah, that's all I could think of right now is the rainforest.
If there was a bug that gave you Nirvana,
shit,
would you take it?
A bug?
Yeah.
You mean like eat it? Like all I can see in my head is like a beetle.
I'm thinking of,
like a pill. Like
that's what I just asked. There's this poem. I'm so forgetting what the who wrote it and what they're saying in the poem, but in the poem they're starting this age where when people would actually put ticks on themselves and leeches.
Oh yeah.
And it was kind of like an erotic thing too, where they would just let them just suck off the blood out of them, and I don't know what that did, or if it did really have a pretty bomb-ass effect. But if there was a bug that could sting you, or even like a bee. Like, what if a bee stung you and suddenly you're like, oh man, I'm feeling that Nirvana right now, or
I think that species will be wiped out immediately.
You think so?
Yeah, man. Are we trying?
Everybody but wanting to get high off of them, or because we would get scared of them and we would kill them all?
Shit, I bet it'd be half and half, man. I bet the animal would be enslaved. Like, we'd have farms that just sting people for money. And then there'd be a whole group out there like, no, this isn't the way, and they'd be trying to kill the bees off, and then there'd be a whole other psycho group trying to just save the bees from everybody.
Oh, wow. That's some Stephen King shit, man.
Shit, you better start writing it, bro. Before I do. Damn. Yeah, shit. I mean, I feel like we're going a little off topic here, but if we're talking bees now...
That's fine.
If we're talking bees now, damn, our entire... Our economy and our very existence on the planet is pretty dependent on bees.
Oh, yeah.
And, shit. There was I was actually randomly just reading an article about... I want to say they called it an Asian, murder wasp. I think that's what they were calling it.
Was that the hornet?
Yeah, it was kind of orangish red.
Yeah.
And they were pretty big. And they said they go into hives and kill all the bees, and then they take over their hive and they start growing their own species, like their own hornets in the old hive, and then they feed all their larvae with the bees' larvae.
Mm.
And they were saying they were being sighted in like Canada and
New York, in northern New York.
Yeah, like up north. And I mean that's just above us, like British Columbia.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was a little freaky. I don't know. Like I think Nirvana kind of ties into all this because it's like thinking about all this scary shit kind of fucks with your Nirvana. Like fucks with your ability to feel safe and balanced.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's like we're already contemplating the pain of these things that, that aren't really even there, or at least not there at the time.
Yeah.
Well, we already kind of have like almost like a prediction or a general idea of what's going to play out, and a lot of times it's scary or bad or the worst case scenario. It's never like, oh, we're going to make friends with the bees and live a long life. It's kind of like, it's like we need them to survive. It's a very, I don't know if that's just the way humans are, or if it's just sort of on our relationship to nature. Because it kind of sounds absurd, but yet it's true to say like we're dependent on the bees. Like,
yeah.
If I were to say that, like, nah, no bee ain't waking me up for work, or
yeah.
the bee ain't paying my bills, but that's kind of going further into what the bees really provide and what the bees really do for the planet, and how much we're kind of
like
on the planet.
Yeah, I think it's all the food supply. Like if you couldn't eat things that were nutritious, you couldn't get up in the morning and go to work and do all the things you want to do. So it's like they're there, they're present. You just don't think about it. Like they're part of everything we do.
Yeah,
everything we eat.
We put it's like, I don't know. I'm just talking for myself, but it's like it feels like I have more power than the bee has, but yet.
Yeah, feels like it.
Yeah, but
it's kind of arrogant, though.
It's not true, right? Or is it?
I don't know, buddy. That's the big question. That's the $1 million question. Yeah. I was listening to this comedian talk the other night about I think it was Brian Regan on Netflix, and he was like saying he was listening to this conversation with this lady saying, animals are smarter than humans. And he just started cutting it all up because it sounded very stupid, the way she was talking. And at the same time, like, fuck, is our way any better? Like, is it our way that's destroying the planet right now?
Yeah.
Or are we on this big, long planetary cycle that we have no control over? Are we, like, how horrible are we versus, fuck if it were just run by, deers and rabbits and bears and wolves? Would the planet just be alright? And maybe if we took a page out of nature's book, I think it's easy for us to feel like we've left the wild world. We were talking about that before, about like hormones and how animalistic we are.
Yeah.
And hell, man.
Well, maybe we gave ourselves too much credit.
Yeah. 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 we got big-headed. We're still big-headed to think that we can control it all, you know?
Yeah. Or that our role is more significant than an animal, because it feels like we always kind of dominate that.
Sounds to me like you're an animalist, sir.
No, I mean, but like the like partaking in fixing the world, like, you know, we're not. I don't think we're talking to the animals. We're just people talking to people.
Yeah.
And we might look to the animals and see what they're doing, but I don't know if there's any true dialogue. But what do I know? So it just seems like, yeah, we've kind of appointed ourselves as, you know, the smarter species, and we're gonna fix the planet. We're gonna go to Mars. You know, we're gonna do all this dumb shit that, I don't know. Maybe we got ahead of ourselves and we just pretty much dug ourselves deep. Because what we're trying to do is actually not benefiting the planet. It's just kind of ripping it apart. And yeah, I mean,
heavy.
I don't know.
It's heavy duty, man.
I don't know. There's this part of me that's like, oh yeah, we need buildings, we need facilities. But then there's this also part of me that's like, no, that's the wrong route. We don't need any of that. We need to tear all that down, start over. But yeah, I mean, it's yeah, it's times like these where I wish I was in another country just to kind of get a different perspective of the planet. Because, you know, the borders and, you know, how we define, you know, all that stuff we were talking about with Amy, you know, really made me think, you know, just sort of like, you know, how does that affect my thinking, you know?
Yeah.
The borders, does it border my thought process, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Interesting. I think we can end on that. Like, I mean, I think, all right, if we were to say one last thing, I think it would be that working on what you think it is. I think I say this all the time now, is trying to figure out what your Nirvana is in this case. And maybe, like you just said about choosing routes, maybe find out what route works best for you. And maybe more importantly, find out which ones don't work for you. I've heard it said before that you could learn more from a mistake than you can with a success.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, any last thought? Because I got to start getting going here.
I don't know, it's like, you still got to figure it all out. And
yeah.
I think admitting that you don't have it figured out is a good start.
Yeah.
And go from there. Because it's not always coming to an answer. Sometimes it's just coming to a new level of understanding.
Yeah.
Maybe something the bee knows that we don't know. That could be the whole puzzle.
Yeah.
You know?
Or the route you've been looking for.
Yeah. Amen.
Amen, brother.
Amen, brother.
Cool.
All right, man. Well,
Gotta hit it, bro.
Start cracking the whip, man.
All right. Everybody, hope you enjoyed tonight's podcast as well as Amy's podcast and Juan's and Rob's and Mr. Thrussell there. I hope you guys keep tuning in. So good night.
Peace.
Here comes the big red button.